Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make this beautiful lovely dress. Stick around, it's going to be easy.
Here is how you get your radius, the radius you're going to be working with. Remember, this dress is going to start from your bust line to your knee line. Now the bust I am working with, the circumference of my bust is 39. I would add 2 inches to it for side seam allowance. I would also add 1 inch for zip allowance. Now that means 39 plus 3 is equals to 42. Now you have to divide it with the formula for cotton flay, which is 6.28. That means 42 divided by 6.28, and that would be 6.5. So my waist radius is 6.5. Here is how you get the amount of fabric you need before you start cutting. The length I want for my dress is 32. Now you need to add that 32 twice. That means 32 plus 32 is equals to 64, plus my bust radius, which is 6.5. That means the width of fabric I need before cutting on my fabric is 70.5. The length of this fabric is 48, but the amount of fabric you need is the length of the dress you're working with plus 2 inches for seam allowance, because of seam allowance at the top and also at the bottom. The width of my fabric is 70.5, just like we calculated. Now here is how you fold your fabric. Fold it in half. Now fold it in a triangle shape like this. Now from the top of this, I will take my bust radius, which is 6.5. I would also add seam allowance right there for joining to the upper part, and I will take 32 inches like I said I would for the length of my dress. And once I am done taking my measurements, I will follow the lines and cut this out. And once you're done cutting, you should have this, and make sure you have one for the back and one for the front. Now for the upper part, you need your basic bodice pattern. If you don't know how to draft a basic bodice pattern, I'll put the link below so you can watch the video. I have for the front and I have for the back. Now this is my front basic bodice pattern. At this armhole part, from my bust line, I will take 2.5 inches upwards, and from my bust line at this point, I will take 1 inch upwards. Now you can also take 2.5 inch at this part so as to match the one you took at your armhole side. That is if you want a straight cut. Now I don't want mine to have a straight cut, I want mine to have a curvy shape, so I will curve it down to that 1 inch I marked, and I will just go on and cut this out. If you want a straight cut, just go on and cut the 2.5 line, but I will follow the 1 inch line. It's as simple as this, and now I have my front pattern. Now onto the back. To cut the back, you can come here on your bust line and go downwards by 1 inch if you want it to have a little bit shape at the back. Now I will just go on and cut out this line because I want mine to be straight, and I will just cut this line out. Now I have my patterns for the front and also for the back. This is the lace I am going to be using for the upper part. Now I'll just go on and place this on fold. Now I will place my center front at the folded edge of my fabric, and next thing I will do is to cut. Now remember to add 1/2 inch for joining at the bottom of your front, and cut out the rest. Now I would place the back pattern on my fabric and I will cut 2 of this on my fabric. Now here is a sleeve block I did earlier on, and I'll put the link below in the description box so you can watch that in case you don't know how to make a sleeve block. Now I'll just go on and cut this out on my fabric, which I have done, and I have 2 of my sleeves. The length of the sleeve is 20 inches because I am going to be adding gathers to it to get to my wrist. So you have to put that in mind. You need to know where you want your sleeve to stop so as to add gathers along the line. Now, next thing you need to do is to measure the width of your sleeve circumference at the bottom. Now, mine is 10 inches and you need to multiply that by 3, and the total of this piece of fabric I am going to be using to gather would be 30 and a few inches. Now I have cut out 2 for my both sleeves, and once you're done gathering this up, you're going to add it to the bottom of your sleeve like this. And once you're done, the length of your sleeve would be to your wrist. Now here is me gathering up the fabric with my needle and thread, my hand needle and thread. Now while drafting the basic bodice block, I added 1.5 inch for zip allowance for the back. Now I am going to reduce the seam allowance to 1/2 inch because that is what I added while cutting out the flay. Now we're going to fold this flay in half, the one for the back. Now we're going to cut this folded part out because we need it to be in 2 separate parts because we're going to be adding zip to it. Now I am going to place the good sides of my lace to the good sides of my fabric, and I'm going to join the bottom together by 1/2 inch, and I am going to do the same to the other one. I'm going to join the good sides of my lace to the good sides of my fabric and join. Now for the front, this is the front. I am also going to do the same for the front. Place the good sides of your lace to the good sides of your fabric and join them together. Now next thing I will do is to place the 2 back sides together and make sure that the joining of the lace and the joining of the lace matches the other parts, as you can see. Now next thing I'll do here is I'm going to take 6 inches downwards from that joining of the lace, and I'm going to mark 1/2 inch, and from this part I'll make my stitch all the way down. Now remember that 2.5 inch we marked out on our pattern while cutting out for the lace parts. Now we're going to place that 2.5 inch on our fabric, and we're going to connect our armhole curve like this so as to give it a little curve right there. And I'm going to also do the same for the other side. Just mark 2.5 inch downwards, and we're going to cut this out. And once you're done cutting, you would have the right armhole curves. Now I will place the good sides of the front to the good sides of the back. And once you do this, you would see that the armhole of the back matches the armhole of the front, as you can see. Now next thing I will do right now is to join the shoulders together by 1/2 inch. Now I have done that. I have stitched my shoulders together. Now next thing I will do is to measure my neckline from the back to the front and also to the back. And once I am done measuring, I have 22. and I will divide that 22 into 2, and I would have 11 inches. Now I would fold my fabric in half. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to make a collar. I will fold my fabric in half and I'll place that 11 inches mark on my fabric. The length of the collar I am using is 2 inches. I would add 1 inch to that for joining allowance at the top and bottom. Now I would come at the bottom part right here and take ½ inch upwards. I will take the measurement I have right there, and from that 1 inch I will take that measurement. Now connect it to this and connect this to this. Now I will just go on and cut this out. Now you can use any interface of your choice to stiffen this up, but I am going to be using hairstay, and I would go on and iron this on my fabric. Now for the meantime, I have gone and added my ruffles to my fabric, as you can see. Now I will fold my sleeve in half and notch the midpoint. And once I have done that, I'll place the notched part on the shoulder joining of my two fabrics, and I will just go on and add my sleeve to my dress. And I would also do the same for the other side. I will go on and add the sleeve to the dress like this. And once you're done, you should have it looking like this. Now I will just go on and fold the sides of my dress to meet, and also my sleeve, fold them together to meet. Now I will stitch from my sleeve and to my dress all the way down to the bottom by ½ inch, and I would also do the same to the other side of my dress. As you can see, I have ironed my interfacing on this and I didn't iron on this. Now I'll go on and place the good sides together, and I will join the sides by ½ inch to the top and also back to the side. And once I am done doing that, I will just go on and notch all around it, and I would also reduce the excess of the fabric. Now I'll just go on and turn this out. Now I will place the good side of my collar to the wrong side of my fabric, and I will go on and join this together by ½ inch. And once I am done joining, as you can see, I'll go on and turn this in, turn the rough edges in on the side, and just go on and fold this just like you're making a skirt band. Just go on and fold this in, and you're going to stitch on top of this, and you're going to keep stitching and folding like this all the way till you get to the end. Now I will just go on and start placing my zip to my fabric, and once I am done pinning, I will go on my sewing machine and stitch my zip. And I would also take this other part and start pinning it on my fabric. Now you need to make sure that those parts, that the joining right here matches. Now once I am done pinning, I'll go on and stitch my zipper to my fabric. Just now at this point, you can go on and overlock the bottom of your skirt or fold it once and sew, or you can also bias the bottom part. Another thing you can do is fold it once and stitch on it all the way around it. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe and see